Imagine you found out tomorrow that you had to take a month away from your business. And I mean properly away. No email, no WhatsApp, no quickly checking Slack from the side of the swimming pool. You are completely unavailable. What starts to wobble first? There's usually an immediate answer. Perhaps a particular client would ask for you. Perhaps the team could keep things moving for a week, but by week 2, the decisions would start piling up. And that can be frustrating because you do have a team and you've already handed over quite a lot of the work. So it isn't necessarily obvious what else needs to change. In this video, I'm going to show you the 4 places dependency tends to sit inside a business, including the one that's easiest to miss. And then I'm going to take you through a simple exercise to work out which one is creating the biggest constraint in your business so you can decide where to start. Because the first thing that comes to mind isn't always the thing keeping you involved. Hi, I'm Thea. I'm a former CFO, a scaling strategist, and the founder of Calm, where we work with founder-led businesses to scale with more profit, more structure, and less dependence on the person who built them. This conversation around business dependency often becomes a conversation about delegation. What can you hand over? What can somebody else do? And that does matter, but you can hand over a lot of the work and still have a business that can't properly move without you. Escaping business dependency doesn't mean that you're no longer needed in the business. It means that your time goes into work where you add the most value, rather than being pulled into every decision, every client relationship, every slightly unusual situation. That gives you more space to lead. It also gives the business room to grow beyond your personal capacity. And if you ever want to step away more or sell it, a business that can keep moving without you is worth far more than one that can't. So there are 4 places I want you to look. The first one is fairly easy to see. The 4th can still be there long after you've hired a team and cleared quite a lot from your diary. The first place is inside the delivery model itself. You likely already have a team doing a decent chunk of the client work, but when you look closely at how the work moves through the business, there may still be points where it needs to come back through you. Perhaps you lead the initial strategy session. Perhaps you review the final work before it goes out. Perhaps a team can handle normal delivery, but they still need your input at a particular stage because your judgement hasn't yet been built into the process. Or perhaps the service was designed around your involvement when the business was smaller, and no one has stopped to ask whether all of those touch points are still necessary. So the question here isn't whether you're doing all of the delivery, it's whether the delivery model can complete a full cycle without relying on you at any point. And if it can't yet, look at each place where the work comes back to you and ask, does this genuinely need my involvement? Could the team own it with a clearer process, or with stronger training, or a different level of authority? And if my involvement does still add value here, can I change the format so it doesn't expand every time the business grows? Because you can have a team delivering the work and still find that every new client adds another set of touch points to your diary. And sometimes the dependency isn't inside the delivery process at all. Sometimes the team could handle all the work perfectly well, but the client still expects you to be the person delivering it. That's the second type of dependency we're going to look at next. I was talking to a founder recently who runs a strategic marketing business. She has a strong team and her team can deliver the work. But a new client said it very plainly: "We've bought into you." And this creates such a difficult dynamic because the natural response is to put yourself back into every call and every piece of delivery so the client feels looked after. But then the team never gets the space to build relationships properly. The business keeps selling your personal presence rather than the strength of the business. So look at your proposals, look at your sales calls and your onboarding process. Are you showing the team clearly enough? Are you explaining how your thinking shapes the work that the team delivers? Are you selling yourself as the main event and hoping the team can take over afterwards? Your client may need to understand how you stay close to their account at the right level. That's different from needing you in every meeting. And even when clients trust the team, the business can still find ways to pull you back in. It happens whenever something unusual occurs. The third place is decision making. Your team may handle the normal run of things perfectly well, but the moment something falls slightly outside the usual process, the question comes back to you. Perhaps a client makes a slightly unusual request, or something slips behind schedule, or somebody needs to decide whether to make an exception. None of those decisions necessarily takes very long to answer, but when they arrive throughout the day from different parts of the business, they keep pulling your attention back into the operational layer. You never quite get the space to think properly because some part of your brain is always waiting for the next message. And there's a useful distinction here. Some decisions genuinely need your input. Others reach you because nobody has decided where else they should go. Those two things can feel identical when the message appears on your phone, but over time they create very different businesses. And better personal boundaries will only take you so far if the business still relies on you as the default route for anything slightly unusual. Perhaps the team needs clearer ownership. Perhaps they need a set of principles that helps them make the right call without you checking. Perhaps you need a proper escalation route so that only the decisions that genuinely need your judgment reach you. And there's one more form of dependency. This one is harder to spot because it doesn't necessarily interrupt your day. The work may all be happening. You may have managers and your diary may even look fairly sensible. And still, the business can't reproduce your results without you. This fourth place is knowledge. This is the judgment you apply instinctively because you've been doing the work for years. It's how you run a sales conversation. It's how you read a client situation. It's how you spot the difference between an opportunity worth pursuing and one that will create a lot of work without producing very much. One founder I spoke to recently runs an agency doing around 50K a month. Since the start of this year, the business had generated 180K of new sales. He had personally closed 116K of it, despite already having a salesperson in the business. So handing over more sales calls wouldn't have solved the issue on its own. The useful question was, what's happening in his sales calls that's never been made visible? His sales process lived in his head. The next step was to start recording the calls and build a library of how he sells. What does he ask? Where does he dig deeper? How does he respond when the conversation changes direction? That library can become training. It can become a repeatable process, and it can show where the gap actually is before he hires anybody else. This is the dependency point that often gets missed. You can't hand over something that nobody can see, and you don't need to start by writing an enormous process manual. Choose one repeated area where your judgment creates the result. Record yourself doing it, look for the pattern, explain why you made the decision you made, and you'll turn something that lives in your head into something the business can use. So let's go back to the question from the beginning. If you disappeared for a month, what would start to wobble first? Take a piece of paper and split it into 4 sections. In the first box, write, where does delivery still come back through me? In the second, which clients would ask for me? In the third, which decisions would wait for me? And in the fourth, which results rely on something I know but haven't made visible? Fill out these boxes and then look at what you've written down. You don't need to systemize your entire business this quarter. Please don't give yourself that project. Instead, choose one repeated point of dependency that's costing you capacity or slowing the business down. Perhaps you need a clearer handover for one part of delivery. Perhaps your onboarding process needs to show clients how the team works around them. Perhaps the team needs a set of decision rules for the issues that keep coming back to you. Perhaps you need to record 10 sales calls and work out what you're doing that nobody else can see yet. That becomes the next project. So take 10 minutes today, my friend, and do the month away test. There'll be one clear point of dependency that needs your attention first. And if you want help building a business that keeps growing without everything coming back through you, that is exactly what we do inside Calm. There's a link below if you want to find out more. Because the business should become easier to lead as it grows. If that's not happening right now, let's fix it.